Hello, friends. My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain.
And you do that.
We're your pillow talk.
Yeah, we're your pillow talk. We are a dating sex advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations, turn them into sexy, sticky situations.
Simply put, we're doing something new this time.
We're doing something a little different.
We're still giving the advice, but instead of, the internet turning its scattergun of chaos upon us and firing willy-nilly into our brains,
we're compressing.
We're going to be a targeted missile.
Yeah, almost like a bayonet where we've got it all, and now we're using the big plungy thing to push the ball and gunpowder packet down in there, so that when we shoot you, it's concentrated. I mean, a musket's not exactly concentrated.
When we shoot someone, we're probably going to need something to absorb the blow.
Yeah,
so we don't just rip through them with our insane advice.
Or if it's just a graze, like something that they could also use to sort of like prop themselves up, right?
Or maybe someone to help them through the recovery process.
Yeah.
Some kind of buddy.
A buddy, something soft.
Well, you said prop them up, so maybe like a kickstand?
Or like a pillow.
Pillow buddy.
Yeah.
It could be us in pillow form.
That'd be great.
I just want to say, not only has our approach changed, I've changed.
Oh.
If you listen to this week's episode, you'll know we were attacked.
We were assaulted.
Yeah, and I just want to say it changed me.
It's going to be funny because the nature of this episode is that people can visit it
at any point.
Whatever they want.
They're going to be real confused. It was a Hornet.
It
wasn't too serious, but also maybe it was the most serious.
Yeah. So this week, we've teased it very briefly right here, right now, that we're going to change things up. So what we're going to be doing on the Patreon for now, until we get bored or change our mind or do something else, is we're going to deep dive on topics that we get questions about. It seems like we always get questions under like the umbrella of a thing.
So it's going to be like a focused assault under a specific topic, and that's it.
Yeah. And that's how we're going to, and then so it's like anytime someone wants to revisit advice on a certain topic, they don't have to search through certain episodes and looking for questions or whatever. They can just come here and find it.
And that's the thing. We're still going to, I'm sure, discuss things around those, but this will be like a nice little like anchor that we're dropping that you can always find and come to and get. Like if you're in need of something, you don't need to trawl episodes trying to find various questions. This is just going to be your like super center.
There it is.
What are we talking about this week?
This week, we're going to be talking about going out. Having a night out. And how to be successful in romantic pursuits, confidence.
And I think friendly pursuits.
Meeting people, how to approach people. That's sort of like one of the big questions we get is, how do you approach people? Yeah. How do you meet people? What do you do at a bar? How do you talk to someone? How do you get a number? How to ba-do?
Yes.
That's what this episode is going to be about. Because Niall and I, not to toot our own horns, though, I think if we could, we would. We had a very successful run when we were single, of going out and making out with strangers, bringing strangers home, getting numbers, going on dates from people that we met on nights out, and it became like almost a thing that people would want to latch onto. They knew if Niall and Dane were going out, you want to be with them, and
it wasn't always just like fucking. It was like making friends, getting in fun situations, sometimes fucking, but then those people were your friends. Like it was kind of a whole thing. And it's the way we still kind of approach like traveling and stuff, where it's like, if we're not single, we're not doing those parts, but we're still having adventures, still having fun, still going out, still meeting people. And like, it's great, So I think like, where do we start here? Do we start before you go out?
Yes.
Clothes.
I think we literally like, it's before we have even met up yet.
Yeah.
We're getting ready individually. So I think you go through very quickly your getting ready process, and I'll talk about my getting ready process.
In general, clothes that I feel good in, are comfortable, are clean, make sure I am showered, done up to the degree where like, if I feel a little scraggly, I will trim up my beard. Depending on how long my hair is, I will either just like wash it and let it dry, or wash it and then like style it with some gel, but like do what you can to, one, feel confident, two, look good. But like, I don't overdo it. I don't think about external factors, apart from like, if I know we're going to X place and it's a little fancier, or X place and it's like a total dive bar, I will, act accordingly. But in general, it's just whatever I wear that makes me feel comfortable and is night out appropriate and is clean.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing, right? Like, you need to know what you're doing. For me, if we're going dancing, I'm not going to wear something that's going to be sweat,
for sure,
obvious, right? Yeah. Like, you have to kind of know what you're getting into. And look, that's not to say, like, there are some people that are going to sweat through their stuff regardless. That's fucking fine. Like, I know that's a source of insecurity or whatever, but like, I do my best to negate things that might make me feel uncomfortable, or
yes. And like, if you're going to sweat through something, that still doesn't mean maybe you shouldn't wear that gray top that really shows.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, if I know we're going dancing, like right now I'm wearing a gray t-shirt that
will move for the closet.
If I was going dancing, would be perilous. So you would see the pits, you would see the back, maybe that little heart shape on the chest. I know it wouldn't be good. So I'm going to wear something dark. As Nell said, comfort is the most important thing. You want to feel good.
Yes.
And then look good.
Yes,
I think.
I think
that is the order. I think a lot of people will try to look good
and then feel good.
But then, they're wearing a shirt that might be a little too tight. It's a great shirt. It looks great. But all night you're fidgeting with the buttons. You're you're pulling the shirt down. You're pulling it out. You're doing this, like, or you've wearing pants that are a little too small for you. And now every time you sit down, you're worried about like the spillover. And it's like,
I've done that. Like, not even like, because, so I wore a shirt to our first No Quest show that was thematic, but it was a little too tight. And all through the show, I was like, fuck. It was in my head. It was like messing with my performance. It all went fine, but it was like, it meant I had to work harder to perform well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt very insecure when I was talking to people, when I was doing anything. I was too warm. It was a bad call. And I did that for the thematic approach, rather than wearing something I was comfortable with. Next show, I just wore a comfy shirt and it was wonderful. So going on a night out, same thing. You don't want to be taken out of wherever you are by being uncomfortable or being insecure. Or
and if we want to talk about like optics, who's going to be more sort of like attractive? The guy who's fidgeting and pulling his shirt and tugging at his shirt and like looks uncomfortable, or the person who's wearing maybe slightly less nice clothing or like not as fancy clothing and is there comfortable and just kind of like existing, like that person is going to look objectively more attractive than the person who is uncomfortable and fidgeting and not feeling themselves. So comfort, number one.
And like, I think people get hung up on like brands. You're fucking like,
nobody cares.
Nobody cares. And the ones who do probably suck.
Unless unless that's the sphere you're in, which I don't think we're going to be able to talk. We were never the VIP club. Like the clubs we went to were like the dive bars of the clubs.
I've also hooked up with people who would hang out with like very like fancy to do like scene. Like, I don't mean scene in terms of like emo, but I mean like the club scene, whatever. And it's like, when you get down to it, maybe they don't see you across the room and go, ooh, but if you talk to them or whatever, the important shit we're about to talk about shines through.
Yes.
And that is what matters. So it's like, anyone who cares probably sucks.
Yeah.
And that's just facts. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that's, and then for me, it would be the two important things. So there's things that I think a good shave always makes me feel good, a good beard trim, even if I'm not like actually changing the length, but like just going through after my shower and like clipping the flyaways and clipping that. I don't think it's necessary, but it's a grooming ritual that I really like. Yeah. Same thing with a good little eyebrow pluck. A little like making sure there's no situation happening there. I had my eyebrows were a source of insecurity for me for a long time before big bold brows were cool. I was very insecure about them, and now I take pride in them, and I like to. So those are like my two sort of things. And the other thing for me, my little secret: cut your toenails.
Damn.
I don't know why, but like if I'm ready to like have a real good night out, I'll always just give my toenails a cut. And there's something about it that, like, just like it makes me feel like I've like a head to toe.
Sure, I love it.
Like, I try it out.
And the thing is, again, the point here is that this is a thing that makes you comfortable and that you enjoy doing.
Yes, and I'm saying this not that to go cut your toenails, but to
you did
relish.
Just say try it out. So
yes, try it out. See how it feels. But like, sort of enjoy the getting ready progress or process, and don't make it a source of anxiety, right? Because if the getting ready process is you're worried about your hair, you're worried about your clothes, you're worried about this, you're worried about that. That's a terrible headspace to go and then go try have fun in.
Yes. And the thing is like, if you're worried about those things, try to like, talk to a friend and be like, hey, like, does my hair look okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or go to like a decent barber. You can get a good haircut for very little and just be like, hey, what do you think? Like, talk to a professional. You know what I mean? Look at what clothes a celebrity you like is wearing and don't buy those brands unless you're balling. But like, you can wear something similar. You can like, there are all these ways to if you're insecure about these things, or like talk to a friend and be like, what do you think about this shirt? Or, there are so many ways to get past those. You don't have to be bumbling in the dark and be like, well, I don't know.
And body positivity has come a long way. And the nice thing is there are content creators who are of all shapes and sizes now. So if you are a particular size, if you're very tall, or if you are overweight, or, have a very specific body shape, you can literally like type in like styles for
big shouldered boy. You know what I mean?
Right. Like I, for a very long time, I've got a big butt and I've got broad shoulders, and it's very difficult usually for me to find pants that fit and to find shirts that are comfortable for me. And I've just kind of had to realize, be like, my shirts are going to be a little looser in the midsection if I want them to fit up top. And that's just like, great. That's fine. And once I got
that, then you're comfortable. Then you have one that's like straining here or there. And then you're like, oh, fuck.
Once I got over the idea that like I might not be able to have like the perfect clothing in terms of like fit every inch of me, and it's just like, oh, these are still comfortable. And once you like kind of retrain your mind to be okay with it, then like,
and they look great. You look great. You look very stylish all the time.
I just bought a bunch of new shirts that I'm very excited for. So enjoy the getting ready process. I always enjoyed it. And that's because I didn't really like put a whole lot of effort in. Like I never did my hair. Like I had a roommate who would do their hair for like an hour and would spiral. They would go through like every stage of grief.
I'll say like my getting ready process is pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's like I'm in and out of the shower. Like I don't really do much.
Yeah.
But I think as a baseline, you have to be clean and comfortable.
Yes.
Clean and comfortable. And like, not even just clean, like do a little deodorant, do a little cologne, a little.
Hey, let's talk about that.
Don't drown yourself.
Scents are very important.
Yes.
I think smelling good, I've talked about it before, it's my favorite compliment. I love when people say, you smell good. I would rather have someone say you smell good than say you look good. I would like both, but I don't know what it is.
I take look mainly because like I know I can make myself smell good pretty easily. So I don't really care about that.
Nah, it's just like if I'm out and someone's like, oh, you smell really good. My night is made.
But
I fucking love it.
You can't smell bad.
You can't smell bad.
Right? So make sure you have a shower. Make sure you
shower, deodorant, and if you're worried about your cologne, don't wear it. I think no cologne is better than too much cologne.
Yes, for sure. And also like it's a dab. It's a tiny little dab.
It's a dab. So the reason, the science behind cologne is it gets into your pores and it amplifies when you start sweating, when you get warm, when you dance, because your pores begin to open and you sweat. And that's when the cologne comes out. You should barely be able to detect your cologne.
Yes. Someone should have to come right up to you and go,
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I can smell your cologne as you're putting it on in another room, it's too fucking much. If I can smell the cologne while
walk past,
when we're sitting at a bar side by side, even then, you're a little too strong.
It should be literally like a tiny little dab in key places.
It's like neck and wrists.
Neck and wrists.
Those are your places. Yep. Don't do anything else.
Don't put them on your dick.
If you have, don't, for God's sakes. There are, like, I know we're not sponsored by them, but Manscaped has an excellent line of products that if you worry, if you don't shave and you get a little swampy down there, they have all kinds of great things that you can put in there that keep you smelling great.
Yeah.
I still use them. I love them. They're great
so
anti-chafing.
There's
options,
right?
But make sure you're using the right product for the right part of your body.
Yes.
And make sure you use them with extreme prejudice.
Yes. Use them in the quantities they're supposed to be, because again, too much of a good smell is also overpowering and can turn your stomach.
And there's a lot of people who have scents.
Yep.
Like
sensitivity.
That you've now also just like cut off a good portion of people you might be running into.
And like, it also indicates either like a lack of care or a lack of confidence. Like if you're really fucking shilling. So like it's weird, but it's almost showing that you're not a great pick in ways.
I never wear cologne.
I will literally boop, boop, every now and then. I have a bottle like less than the like size of a matchbox that I've had for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's still going. I don't know if they have an expiry date, but it still smells good and doesn't give me a rash.
I have yet to find a scent that like I find is neutral and subtle enough that I enjoy. And again, to be fair, a lot of people say I smell good. So I find that just my Old Spice deodorant and my natural
and that's situation, the thing. You don't need it, right? And so if you're in any way worried, if you've ever gotten comments on it, just ditch it.
Yeah. And our natural smell, we have pheromones. Yeah. We have like, don't hide that.
No.
That is something to be used to your advantage as well. To like, smelling good is great, but like if people get like your smell, that is also a sign of like a sexual compatibility as well.
So you don't want to mask that because that could be a little guy in your favor.
Yeah. Okay. So we're ready. You're looking good. I'm looking good.
Amazing. I got to make sure I'm 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
It has to happen or else Dane explodes.
You can meet up. You can meet up.
And that's the thing. So it all depends what you're doing. And this is where I think the only way this episode might fall apart is there's so many permutations. If you're meeting up for drinks or whatever beforehand, either way, if you're meeting up to do it or if you're not meeting up to do it, eat.
Yes.
You need to eat. You need to be full, right? Like, don't go drinking on an empty stomach. You're going to ruin your health, your night, your next morning. Don't go out being like, oh, I'm going to eat at some point because you probably won't be able to. If you're going out for food with a friend, great, that's fine. But like, eat. I know it's probably simple.
And eat something that you know won't upset your tummy.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to be shitting.
Alcohol is a rocky boat, right? You're throwing things into the water, and the last thing you want to do is feel like you're going to shit your pants the whole night.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And like, be cognizant of your breath as well. If you eat like,
if you're having garlic like half milk, a pizza, good God. That's such a visceral word for me. Garlic.
It's this Georgian like stew they do. It's fucking great, but like, yeah, it sounds way worse than it is. It's really
just as me, someone with lactose intolerance. No, that I would actively be doing bad things out of both sides of business.
But just be aware, like some people get really bad breath. Yeah, and that's fine.
That's what mints and. It's always, I've now started like carrying mints around I like just popping them in there. Little tic tac, little mint. It's fine. And if things start getting hot and heavy and you're worried that like, oh, you've been drinking IPAs all night or, for whatever, like you just did a shot of fucking Sambuca or Jaeger and it's starting to like, get in your mouth and seep into just pop a fucking mint, minty fresh breath. You're good. It shows that you're willing to work with the situation. And like, no one's going to be upset. Like, oh, he has a mint. His breath smells minty.
Yeah. Not a single person is going to be like, wait, it's a little too, it's kind of the opposite of cologne where it's like, I don't think unless you put like 18 strips of chewing gum in your mouth, no one's going to be upset that you're like freshly minty.
Yeah. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Yes. Have a good base. Eat something that's going to soak up the booze because you getting absolutely fucking hammered is not...
Or throwing up or whatever permutation sick, or having to bail and go walk 8 blocks to find something and come back and then you spill fucking ketchup
shawarma sauce all over you. Yeah. So definitely eat. Great. I think I don't think pre-drinking is a bad idea because bars are expensive.
Yeah.
So... have your friend over. You can goof around a bit. You can loosen up a bit. You can relax. If the getting ready process is a little stressful for you, this is your time to decompress.
Yeah. And I think it's also a good way of just like, this is important. The point of the night should be hanging out and having fun with your friend.
100%. That is, yes.
And this is where it starts, right? So if you're only like business, we're not going to meet up. Fuck that. It's just club and bitches. You're doing it wrong.
You're going to have a bad time. So yes, you need to, be excited to hang out with the person you're hanging out with.
Yes.
If this is a chore for you, you might as well just write the night off.
If this is just the best person you could get on that night, and like you'll do it because you'd rather not be alone, what are you doing?
And that's like, I would wager the majority of our success as a duo was the fact that we could have been in a club full of people that we weren't attracted to.
We all dudes. Like when we were in Brooklyn, we went out, we ended up at that gay bar and had the best time. Like that's it. It's like any person in the scenario we're talking about, if they ended up in a gay bar, would be like, what are we doing? There's no girls.
Yeah.
And yeah, there were no girls, but we had so much fucking fun. It was the best. So like,
I mean, we had a friend who we would invite them out because they would always be kind of miserable.
Yeah.
And we would invite them out and they would show up and within like 15 minutes, they'd be like, there's no girls here. There's no women here. And we're like, yeah, it's fine, man. We want to hang out with you. And then they would get all pissy and leave.
And then guess what? Women would happen at some point.
Yeah.
You know? So the point needs to be that. So if you're going to have fun with your friend, hanging out beforehand, having a drink or not, like none of this you need to drink for. I know.
Yes.
I'm probably going to talk about drinking because I do.
And it's a big part of the.
Yeah. I think a lot of people will.
Yeah.
If you don't drink, that's fine.
That's okay.
Right. Like don't feel like you have to because
we'll try to interject like footnotes.
Yeah. But
on that here and there, because I think later in the evening, I think it does become a thing if you haven't been drinking.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we are talking about our experiences, and that was usually the consumption of alcohol.
So meet up with your friend, have fun, maybe go out, hit a bar or two beforehand. Because I also think if you go, clubs are kind of oppressive, and like club includes pubs, bars, wherever you're going with the express purpose of having a night out. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of music, there's like maybe dancing, maybe whatever. It's like, just going into that cold can be hard, especially when it's expensive and you might be stone cold sober. You might be insecure about dancing, which I was and still am to certain degrees. So it's like breaking the ice of the night and with you and your friends and having fun and warming up that way. Again, even if you're not drinking, I think is a great way to do things because also some clubs start late, right? Or only get busy late, like midnight.
Yeah, the place we used to go to, like specifically, what would be dead until midnight. Yeah. Like it was literally like midnight, the clock strikes midnight and then people like start coming in. It was like, that was just how it was. And you knew, so we would usually like meet up around 9-ish and fuck around, do whatever.
Hit a few bars.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you meet cool people and you invite them. Sometimes you meet cool people and they're going somewhere else. And then you go, fuck it, let's do it. I think that's a really important thing is don't get too married to the plan.
This is okay. You're about to get the core of it. You're about to get the Niall and Dane special. And it's a little thing we call the spirit of the night. Don't get weird about it. Please. Don't get weird about it. But there is a guiding force every time you go out. It's as close to a religion as I have. And I believe strongly in it of being like, when you go out, there's a cosmic force out there trying to make you have a good time.
For sure.
And a lot of people push back on it because it's not, as Nell said, it's not the plan. It's not what they wanted to do. It's not this. It's not that. And I think a lot of people, there's like a two-prong sort of like places where people fail. And it's one, because you're going to somewhere where you don't think will be viable to find someone to make out with or hook up with. And that immediately you're like, I hate this idea.
Yes.
And the other one is, this isn't what we were planning on doing, so we're not going to do it.
So, like, it doesn't matter what it is, but we said we'd go to X.
Fuck taking the chance on this place, we're going to this place, because that's what we said we were going to do. And we know from, the first time we went, it was good.
Yeah.
So you need to be malleable.
Loosey-goosey.
And let yourself be guided and follow your instinct, follow your gut. If you're like, oh, that's a bad idea, and there will be bad ideas.
Yes, there will be bad. And that's the dangerous part. Is it's not like just someone comes up with an idea and you go, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's not the Yes Man movie that Jim Carrey was in where you say yes to everything. No, sometimes someone is like,
let's go down this alley and play pool with this guy who's licking his arm.
Yeah. I mean, to give an example, there was a night where my friend and I were like, let's try to crash a TIFF party. And we put on suits and we kind of just confidently strolled into bars. And a lot of people were like, what are you doing? We're like, yeah, we tried. But this guy came up and he was like, hey, you guys want, like, if you're looking for a party, like, come here. And we were like, okay. So we go and the bar was fucking empty. We were like the only people. I think there was like 2 or 3 other people in this club. But they were like, we'll buy your first couple drinks. And we're like, fuck it.
Free drinks are free drinks.
So it's like, worst case, we have a couple free drinks here. Ended up being it was like the WWE like after party, so it was supposed to have like all the wrestlers were supposed to come there afterwards and party. So they were shuttling all the women to the VIP area and all the dudes just out in the front, and eventually all the women were just like, this sucks, we don't want to just be standing here waiting for wrestlers. So they all came out. And, mingling began to happen. But by the end of the night, we were talking with like a prosecutor of like the cartel, like the South American cartel. We were talking with a forensic investigator. There was a African tour company, like from like, they were like over promoting or whatever. Mm. So we got like all that, like, and we ended up having like this huge random group of really cool people that we wouldn't have met otherwise. Oh, for sure. And what we probably would have ended up in like a douchey fucking TIFF party.
Yeah. And like, how many nights have we gone out with where we just like,
oh my God.
And there's been so many times where we go to like a bar and it sucked. We go to the next bar and it sucked. And like, so many times where we've been like, this night, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But you know what? We see a light in the distance and we go, hey, what's that? Guess what? It was incredible.
Yeah.
You know?
And sometimes it's not incredible. Sometimes it's just a night with your friend that you just go out and have a good time. It's like, that's the crux of it, right? Like, if the success of the night depends on you getting a number, making out with someone, hooking out, then it's bad. You're going to have a bad time because you're going to be desperate. You're going to be trying too hard. And if it doesn't happen, then you haven't had a good night.
Yeah. You've wasted your time. And the thing is, you can't guarantee that will happen.
You can't.
Because that's just not how life works.
Yeah.
You know what you can do? Guarantee you're out with someone you enjoy and having fun with them. So if you do that, you're not going to get weird about hooking up with people because every time you go out, it's going to be fun. So you're not going to look back and be like, God damn it. I only went down and had a great night with my friend.
Yeah. And the thing is like, you might have like 10 nights in a row like that.
Yeah.
Where nothing happens and it's just you and your bud hanging out. And that's fine. But what's going to happen is you're going to become more confident.
Yeah.
You're going to be more comfortable. You're going to be going out, having a good time. And it's going to become second nature to just enjoy the vibe.
And you'll be having fun.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to be like, oh, I've sacrificed those 10 nights so I can get to the good nights. These are all good nights.
And let me tell you, having fun is so the way that like being comfortable was like the most important thing of getting ready. Having fun is the most important thing of like attracting people when you're out. So, okay. We've gotten ready. We've wandered around a bit. We're ready to embrace the spirit of the night. You find a bar.
Yeah,
it's popping.
Or you go to the place you had planned on. That's fine.
Whatever it is, you followed your plan. You've ended up in a place that is bumping. You like the vibe. The people are cool. The music is good.
Yeah.
We're gonna say club a lot. Niall and I went to one club only our entire time in Toronto, at least.
It's not club as you might imagine it, right?
Yeah.
Like your mileage may vary. You might like that very elitist, like club that's
wait in line, dress code club. That's fine. Like,
our club was very grungy.
Yeah.
It was a very dive bar-y club, you know? And that was our vibe. Pick your vibe, right? If you're not comfortable in this, like, I don't want to say douchey because I'm putting value judgments on, but you know what I mean. If you're not comfortable in the dive bar, for example, don't go there, right? Go to where you're going to be happy. If you don't want to be in a club, but you want to be in a country music bar or a metal bar or
a pub,
a sports bar. You know what I mean? That's your shit matters. So whatever you want, you go do that. Right?
Yeah. I mean, like, and at least in Toronto, there is a club version of pretty much every, like Gracie O'Malley's, like if you want, it's like an Irish pub,
and then but that's also a club.
Yeah, and then there's Rockin' Horse, there's Dublin Calling, you know what I mean? Like there's all these places that are
Bovine Sex Club. It's like kind of metal-y, kind of
exactly.
So find where you are comfortable with, and like if you and your friends have different vibes, either find something in the middle or alternate. You know what I mean?
Because like I made a point. There was a point in my life where I was like, oh, I actually like dancing because I would be terrified to do it sober. But when I would get drunk, I would just wander off. There was that night at Rockin' Horse where I just kind of like fucked off for an hour and I was just dancing to country music.
Yeah,
that's not either of the things that I thought I would want to do, but I was drunk enough to do it. And I was like, okay, I apparently do enjoy doing this. So I really made an effort to be like, I'm going to try to enjoy dancing sober. So I really liked going to the bar that we would go to called the Underground Garage because there was a little dance floor that you could just vibe out to.
When it got bumping.
Yeah, and the music was good. It was like all old school hip hop mixed in with a few sort of like modern
contemporary
bangers.
Hits. Yeah.
And it was great. It was easy to dance to. People were happy to dance to it, and it was great. I know Niall wasn't the biggest fan of dancing.
So in Ireland, the dancing is very different, and mainly because we're destroyed drunk. So for me, it's just like, I would try to drink less because, you know, it's more fun. And then just the more sober I was, the less dancey I was feeling.
Yeah.
You know? And even then, it's like, I don't mind getting on a dance floor and like grooving if there's a bunch of people, but like when it's like early days and there's like two people on the dance floor,
like
them being me and you.
Yeah. We were early adopters every now and then.
It got me a little insecure. And like sometimes well, I would just fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, that's fine, because having fun, and like, it wouldn't be fun if I was like, see you, Dane. Yeah. And I stood in the corner and you danced, you know what I mean? And also it's like going out and like having fun at clubs and meeting people is all about getting over your fears and your insecurities. Yes. So it's like, if I'm going to go and talk to that girl that's intimidatingly attractive, and I'm going to go and like sometimes get rejected and blah, 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 I may as well also dance. Like, it's, you know, and you need to be able to get over all of it. And it was fun. So.
And not to like put expectations there, but like us being one of the few people on the dance floor, dicking around, having fun, and like, you know, scream yelling, I don't fuck with you. You know what I mean? Like, us being so into a very dumb song that put a lot of eyes on us. And it wasn't the goal, but we were there, we were having fun.
Yeah. And no one's looking at us being like, wow, like Magic Mike level dancing. Like, they've got the moves. They're looking over me like they're having fun. That's it. Like, that's maybe they're confident, but they're having fun.
Yeah.
And those two things, guess what? Huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas like if I'm standing in the corner, maybe scoping you out, no one's looking over and going, hell yeah.
Yeah.
They're looking over and going, is he going to come over?
Yeah.
You know?
And so it's like you also kind of set the standard of being like, oh, these guys aren't here to hit on me, right? They might hit on me.
Yeah, but they're doing more than just that.
But they very clearly have an agenda, and it's having fun now. And that's really like what it's all about. Like, we cannot stress it enough that having fun on your nights out is the most important thing.
Yes.
If you're not ready to do that, if you are still so fucking in your head and so, I'll say it, insecure that you need the validation of making out with someone, getting a number, hooking up with someone.
And we get it.
I
was there.
Totally get it.
Sure.
And there was definitely nights where even after we had cracked this code, where we would have had a bad breakup or whatever, and we would be like, one of us would be like a little bit more on the prowl.
Yeah, I don't want to act like we're just like angelic beings.
Yeah,
we've gotten over that. We just float through our nights, and there have been so many nights. There are nights where I went home and didn't hook up with anyone, and I felt like shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's about mitigating that as much as you can, understanding that is unrealistic, and like getting over it, because you could just fall the other way into it, and that way lies hell, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather feel it occasionally and work my way around it and know that I still had fun and have all this positivity surround it than just be miserable.
Like there were people in our friend group who, when we would go out with a big gaggle of people, there would be people who like would leave the end of the night and be so angry, and be so depressed and be so upset because X, Y, and Z. It's like, they didn't get a number. They didn't make out with someone. We all got numbers and they didn't. And it was like, so we're just like, you had a great night. Like, you were laughing with us. You were dancing with us.
Why did it turn in the last 15 minutes?
Yeah, you know? Because now it's last call and no one's going home with you. And all of a sudden it's a bad night. That makes no fucking sense. Like, it's hard to fall into that. It's hard not to get jealous if all your buddies are pulling numbers out of their asses.
But also, if you get bitter and weird about that, people pick up on that.
Yeah.
And it's like, any chance you had, gone.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. So you found your spot. You're there. We've talked about like the first things. First thing to do is sort of like, I think, in my opinion, is go to the bar, grab a drink, and tip your bartender very, very well.
One, don't go out there and not tip, right? If you're in Ireland, they won't let you, sure. But like, culturally, if you're meant to tip. Because one, the bartender's going to sort you out.
And they're going to remember you.
Yes. And there's nothing cooler than walking up and having there be a lineup of people who either they don't know, are being rude, or haven't tipped. And then you come up to the bar and in a heartbeat, they're over, hey, what do you want? And then you get a drink and you look fucking cool as shit.
Again, not to act like a bar star too much, but we established a reputation at the Underground, so much so that our first round, we wouldn't pay for our first round until we went up for our second drink, because we would walk in, they would reach over everyone waiting for drinks, give us our beers, we would go in, and then the next time we went to the bar, they'd be like, they would charge us for the two, because they knew, one, we're going to take care of them, and two, that we're cool. Bless you.
I once went to a wrap party for a movie. And the people there were kind of douchey, I will say, mostly. And a lot of people were coming up and being like, oh, what did you do in the movie? And there were a lot of beautiful girls there. And when they heard that I, one, didn't work in the film industry, and two, worked in the restaurant, I literally had one person go, ew, and walk away, right? Which sucked. But had fun. I was with a bunch of like stuntmen who were all very cool. And later on in the night, because I had been tipping, even though it was an open bar, they would come over when they brought out like the hors d'oeuvres and shit. They would beeline right to me and the people we were with. We would always get first choice. And when I went to get a drink, they would again reach over like the fucking director, reach over the actors and be like, what do you want? What do you want? Give me beer that they didn't even have available. And the second people saw me getting the special treatment, people were like, wait a minute. And coming over and being like the same girls who earlier on were being really weird were then trying to be like, wait, there's something's not adding up. You're getting this treatment. And then they thought it was a big deal. Nope. Just tipped well and was cool. So like, don't underestimate that. Right.
Yeah. The bartenders in a bar or a club
biggest ally
are your biggest ally.
Well, I'm saying they can be.
Yes.
Because if you don't tip,
100%.
You're going to get cold response off them. They're not going to give you a drink, blah, blah, blah. This is an aside, but it's important.
Yes. Like when I have someone on a date at my wood, I can make or break that date.
Oh, easy.
I can make that date. I can get you sorted, sir.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're an asshole,
I'll destroy you.
Or if you're rude to her,
yeah,
I'm gonna fuck your shit up.
Me,
or rude to me, yes, yeah. So anyway, you grab a drink. If you don't drink,
you can still grab a pop or water or whatever.
Get something in your hand.
Yeah.
One, because it's a great thing. You don't have two hands dangling beside you. Yeah. I feel most awkward when I have my two hands free, which is why I like to have a beer or something. I recommend, in my personal opinion, get a bottle or a can. Having an open drink, one, the world is scary and leaves you open to potential bad things happening to your drink. Mm-hmm. And two, it's way easier to dance and move around and get through a crowd with a bottle or a can than it is with an open drink that you're sloshing around. You probably paid fucking $14 for your rum and Coke.
Yeah. Also with a can, no one knows how much liquid's in it. Yeah. So if you are running low or if you're not drinking it or if it's empty, it's not as big of a deal. So again, if you're not drinking and you don't want to drink like 9 fucking whatevers, you can just get one. And even if it's done, you have something to hold. You're all good. I will say, when you are making contact with someone you are attracted to, you have to do a few things. And they are appear harmless.
Yeah.
Preferably be fucking harmless. But we're assuming you are. And they just need to know that you are. And go in lightly, right? You don't come in like a fucking wrecking ball. And we've said it before. If you're at a bar and there's an attractive person beside you, hey, how's your night going?
It's the best pickup line.
Yeah.
The best pickup line is hello, followed with how's your night going?
Yeah.
Are you having a good night? And then like you get an immediate vibe because like if they're not interested in you, they're going to be like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. And you go, okay. And then you get your drink and you leave.
Yeah. You'd be like, all right, great.
Yeah.
And because you don't know, like maybe they just had a shitty interaction with a coworker,
or other guys,
a friend, or you know what I mean? Like any reason why they could be cold to you at that moment.
Maybe they're just scared of you because you're a random person coming up to them who presumably wants to fuck them. You know what I mean? I understand and do not hold any cold response in any way against anybody the first time I meet them, or even like the 5th time. Yeah. It's all good. What you're doing is you're breaking the ice, right? Yep. You say, hey, how was your night? Maybe it's tepid, maybe it's warm, whichever way it is. You get your drink and you leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's cold for sure, you just turn around, you get your drink, you don't hassle them.
And if they were there waiting before you.
Yes, you say, she was here first.
She was here first.
Yes.
Grab her first.
Which I think you should do if they're a guy or a girl or 100%, anybody. Because
100%.
Again, if there's a girl there and then this guy and you're polite enough to do that, they're probably going to think you're cool because guess what? You're cool, right? And that guy's going to think you're cool.
I will also say don't keep your interactions to just women.
No.
Right? So if you go up to the bar and there's a dude there, talk to him as well, right? Ask them how you're doing because I promise you, like, dudes are so excited to make new friends.
Yeah.
And if this guy's a douchebag, he might be a douchebag, he might be an asshole, whatever.
It's
fine. It's very easy to figure that out. But if you're like, hey, how's your night going? And they're like, oh, it's great. How are you doing? And it's like, great. What are you like? Who are you? Whatever. You have your conversation with them. And for all you know, he's with a group of attractive coworkers that he can then introduce you to.
Or he's with 4 also cool guys. And then guess what? Instead of 2 of you on the dance floor, you see them, they come over, there's 6 of you.
Now you got a gaggle of boys.
Maybe you make a friend, maybe not. Like I don't want to phrase it in these like, now you're in with them. And like it's true and it's important, but like you should also be doing this to have fun and to maybe meet new people.
Yeah, you never know what the connections are going to lead to.
Yes.
Right?
And also it's just good life practice to be a nice person who's excited and interested by other people. You know what I mean? And a girl seeing that will be like, oh, he's not just like beelining to me because I'm a woman and then sitting there silently. You'll seem better and less harmful, right? And the cool thing about this is you talk to the girl, whatever response you get, you chat for a bit or not, you're cool, and then you leave and you go and you continue to have your fun. And then the next time they see you, they know you're cool.
Yeah. Oh,
you're harmless.
Yeah.
You're not going to overstep your boundaries. You're not going to be weird. So like they're going to feel a lot more safe because you've demonstrated that you can take fucking social cues.
One of the best like sort of interactions you can have at a bar is you see the lady, an attractive lady that you are would like to talk to,
or a guy.
Yeah. Or whoever.
Or whoever.
You know, you find your person that you are interested in. You say hello, how's your night? They respond however they do. And then once you have your drink, oh, have a good night.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Like, see you in a bit. Or, you know, something like that.
Obviously, if the conversation's going well, don't run away.
Yes, but also don't
overstay your, right? Like, this is just a greeting. You say hello, you chat for a bit. Once you have your drink, also, don't leave your buddy hanging out by themselves.
That's the thing. I feel like even if it's going really well, by all means, don't just immediately cut and run. But you still end it probably sooner than you would want to.
Yeah.
Or maybe they would want to, but that's not a bad thing because you still had this good time, but then you're also showing them that like your friend is important and the night's important. And that's kind of nice because it takes the pressure off them and maybe they want some more, you know?
And that's the thing is like, so you have this interaction, you give them a cheers, like, have a good night.
Yeah.
And then,
every time you say that, it sounds like you're saying bye.
You know, you're on the dance floor and then you make eye contact, you raise your drink up, be like, oh, hey, it's you again.
Or like if you bump into each other on the dance floor and you go up and like talk to them or dance with them or make eye contact, it's not just zero.
Yeah.
It's something. And like, it's funny that that can be all it takes is a small chat at the bar. And then she feels comfortable coming up and dancing with you.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're making out.
Now,
right?
Let's talk about coming up and dancing with people. Approaching them from behind and
Don't
grinding on them. Don't do it. That's not the way to do it.
If they can't see you coming, don't. You're not coming.
Yeah.
You're going to jail. No.
If you haven't had any sort of interaction, probably don't touch them either.
Yes.
If you are sort of like, oh, the dance floor has shifted and you are now face to face with someone that it's attractive,
you dance near them, you dance in their orbit, and like you'll know if they're like up in your space to the point where you can put a hand on them. And if you do, and they either brush you away or move away, take the fucking hint.
Take the hint.
And make sure that hand went somewhere appropriate. Right?
Appropriate. I like good places to put a hand. I say usually take their hand, right?
Yeah.
And do like a little shimmy dance with their hand. Cause it's you keep your grip loose. If they don't want it, it's very obvious. Whereas like a hip could be misread. If they get bumped from behind and they move, you're like, oh.
Also, it's harder for them to get away and you have to be closer.
Yes.
Whereas with a hand, she could just like put her hand up to do a dance. And that's a very casual way.
And then if that happens, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Great. I think the only place that you should ever touch without sort of a consent or, you know, implied consent of mutual attraction is a hand hold. And even then, I think you've got to really be sure that there is an initial vibe at first.
The good thing is, it's like you don't really need to touch them for quite a while. Like you can have a pretty intimate, fun dance sesh in each other's orbit, even with friends, just by like vibing with each other. You know, when your focus is directed at them, you're dancing with them if they're also dancing with you, importantly. And you don't need to touch them.
Yeah.
Right. And if that goes well, you'll probably get to a point where you know when to touch them or they'll touch you. So you're good.
Another great way to establish contact, sing lyrics together.
Yeah.
If they're fucking yelling out the lyrics of a song and you know it, make eye contact with them and yell it at them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's so easy.
As long as the lyrics aren't like, I'm going to bring you home and murder you in my basement.
Yeah. It's just the middle part from fucking Down with the Sickness.
Yeah. You know, it's like, make sure the lyrics you're yelling
be a
are
good boy.
There's time and place. There's lyrics that you probably shouldn't address and direct towards.
Don't yell the N-word.
Don't drop the N-bomb.
Unless you're able to.
Unless you're allowed to.
We're not going to speak about this. You know what I mean. You know when and if. But like, just because it's in the song doesn't mean you're allowed to say it.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Just gonna point that out.
Yeah. I would say those are probably my two most common ways of interacting with a woman that I am attracted to is asking them how their night's going, even on the dance floor. Just like once, if we've been vibing for a bit, just like, you know, and then like, even just like, hi, I'm Dane.
Yeah.
Right. Like an introduction of like establishing hand. If they shake it, you can give them a little twirl on the dance floor. You can do, once again, go to the shimmy.
karate flip them.
Yeah, you can judo toss them.
And the thing is, it's like, it can be kind of cute being like, I never got your name earlier. Like, I'm Niall.
Yeah.
Like, and then, there's just so many ways to break down boundaries that are respectful and fun and easy.
Yeah.
And it is what we're talking about, and it's none of the bullshit you'll hear on Seduction.
No.
Right?
And then, like I said, the other one is like you're singing a song, and then that gives you an opportunity to sort of like close distance.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can make room, eyes, and like 9 times out of 10, if someone is vibing with me with lyrics, we can meet in the middle.
Oh,
like
for sure.
we will get intense about it. And like that for me also shows me I'm like, oh, you're fun.
Yes.
You're here for fun.
And it shows them you're fun.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're willing to scream the lyrics to Taylor Swift or whatever.
Yeah.
Just like, and it is fun.
Now,
that's the greatest part.
Let's talk about the next important part. You are there with a friend, and wingmanning is a thing. I'm always concerned about talking about wingmanning because I'm worried that people think like I think there are a little bit of negative bubblings in the term, but for me, what being a wingman is if I've made contact with this woman in a group of women, and we met at the bar. Now we're yelling lyrics at each other. I've shaken her hand. We've introduced ourselves, and you know what? Immediately I do. I turn around and introduce her to Niall, and I say, "This is my buddy Niall," and
I say hi, and then I generally introduce myself to her friends.
Yeah,
and as a good wingman, I'm bridging that gap between our friends are meeting. It's like being like walking your dog, and you talk to the other owner, and we're vibing, and the dogs are sniffing each other's butts. Dane is now a dirty dog, and he's
getting my sniffer right up there.
No, but it's like it's hard. You're kind of doing a lot of things at once, right?
Yeah.
If they're with a friend, that friend is going to feel like shit if they're by yourself. Also, you're probably going to feel like shit if you're by yourself. So you're saving yourself, you're saving their friend, and you're taking the weight and the pressure off of the two people who are meeting by providing this like support system, right? Sometimes their friend is going to be also attractive and it's a win-win situation. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're taken. In all these situations, have fun.
Yeah.
Continue to have fun. That's the point.
And I will flip it around as well. If the person you're introducing ends up vibing better with your friend, then that's fine.
You bow out.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it's not like, I saw her first, she's mine. Like,
there's no dibs in human beings. Dibs.
And the person in question isn't just going to be like, you're right, you did see me first, guy who's getting weird. They're going to be into whoever they're into. And it's like, if you like your friend, let them do their thing. Let them both do their thing.
Yeah.
If that thing is each other, wonderful. On the other flip side, let's just keep flipping it. Don't be a dickhead and don't then swoop as the friend and try to get in the way. Don't try to hit on the person. Don't try to put your friend down. I've seen people do that.
Oh, it's such a weird move.
You're not a friend. You're a piece of shit. Like, I don't understand why you would ever do that, especially if you're friends in other situations, right? Like, I've been with people who, like, the second a girl comes around, they're like, oh, yeah, this guy, this fucking loser,
what an idiot,
It's like, what are you doing? Because, one, no one finds that attractive.
No one.
So you're burning
cool.
your bridge.
Yeah.
And then it puts you in a position where either you, like, fire back, which sucks, or you just don't, like, and that sucks. Cool. It's like, it's just bad for everybody. So don't be that guy who, like, tries to swoop and steal or tries to cock block or tries to be whatever. But if you're just vibing, that's fine. Like, I know that might sound contradictory, but it's like, if it happens, it happens, and you should know well enough when, like, things are natural.
Yeah.
You know? And we've done it. There's been times where I'm really into someone and then they see Dane and all of a sudden I don't exist. I'm like, hey, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, like, it's going to happen. Like you said, it's like you can't control. And there have been definitely
times
how
awesome
like,
your friend is too. So you should get it.
Yeah.
Right.
And there have been times where like the people we started talking to over the course of the night, we've just swapped for whatever reason. Yeah. Then it's just like, oh, I'm actually way more into you and you're way more into me. Yeah. And then it's like, great, cool.
Great, yeah.
Some cool wingman moves to do. If you and your buddy need another drink, and they're talking to someone, go to the bar, grab a drink for both of you, because it's very possible that you lose that. Like if you're like, okay, I gotta go grab another drink, and then being like, I have no idea where that person went.
Yes.
Right. And if the vibes are good and if the conversation is flowing, then you're there to make sure, just be like, want another one? Good, great. And then you give them some alone time.
Yeah.
You get some time for them to vibe by themselves. And also you've gotten another drink. You know what I mean? Like you haven't.
And then like, if your friends are cool, you're cool. So you're doing a cool thing that makes them look cool. Secondly, big them up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to be like, oh, yeah, they're awesome. And don't be weird about it. But like, you know what I mean? If in any way you can be like, oh, yeah, this person just we're out celebrating because they just got an award in their podcast. You know what I mean? Or we're blah, blah, blah. Or like, oh, Dane's actually really good at archery or something. You know what I mean? If it comes up naturally, don't just be like, oh, he's got great dick. Oh, look at those arms. Like, don't be weird.
Yeah.
Like there's so many ways to be a good wingman. I would say there are almost exclusively ways to be a good friend.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're just doing your best to like make your friend seem good.
And I will say, know when to bow out.
No, yeah,
know when to be like, you have it from here, you crazy kids.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Don't say that. But just know when to make your distance.
I can make it work.
You know what I mean? And you know what's great? At this point, maybe they go home. Oh, what's that? The 4 guys you met at the bar invite you over?
Yeah.
Your night's not done. You hang out with them.
Exactly.
Maybe they're hanging out with some girls. Maybe you then get lucky. Or maybe you just have fun and you go home. Or maybe you just go home. Like, you can't win them all, but guess what? If you were a good friend and your friend won, you won.
Yeah.
Right? And you had a good time, more importantly, which means you won.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's
it. That's going out.
It's not hard. And it is very fun.
I think, it's the thing is like you really need to get out of the mindset of the idea of we're going out to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're going out to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Also, like, when I was single, whenever I was anywhere, I was ready to pick up. You know what I mean? It's not like I was in a situation.
Yeah, I had to flip the pickup switch. Yes.
Like, and it seems weird to me, but also I was never doing anything just to pick up, because if I was, and there were times where I was like, I'm single, I'm brokenhearted, I'm going out. They were generally my least successful.
That's what I was going to say. It's like anytime that we ever were in those phases, because I remember there were nights where we're like, all right, tonight's the night. And then you go and you're just like, we are so off our game right now, because it's you just like, you reek it, right? Like people, especially women, can pick up desperation, can pick up a gambit, can pick up a game, can pick up all this stupid shit. If you're following advice that gives you step-by-step guides, that's why we're trying to keep it nebulous. That's why like we're trying to keep the ideas and the concepts there.
And I know it's frustrating to hear that, because it's a lot easier to be like, step 1, wear your Nikes. Step 2, look her in the eye and blink twice. Step 3, under your jacket.
Yeah.
You know, like,
hold her hand no matter how long. If she tries to pull away, that's a shit test.
Yeah.
Hold her arm harder. Like, no, there's no hard and fast rules. Every person is different. Mm-hmm. You are different. The person you're attracted to are different.
The nights are different.
You know? Like, who knows what you're going to get up to? And you need to be ready to roll with the punches. And that's the thing that comes with practice. That's the thing with, and again, you get that practice not by going out and saying, oh, I failed. I didn't hook up tonight, so I failed. I didn't hook up today because I failed. Because you get bitter, you get weird.
Yeah.
If you go out and be like, if you go on Monday and you have a story and be like, Niall and I ended up at a fucking country bar and we ended up switching hats with the bridesmaids and the bachelor or the bachelorette party. And it got so bad that we didn't know that the bride was there, and the bride's mom came and had to drag her away from us because we didn't know. You know what I mean? It's like,
and then
did I hook up with the bride? No. Did we hook up with the bachelorette party? No. Do I have a great picture of me wearing a Canadian cowboy hat?
100%.
Absolutely. Do I have a story? Yes.
Yes. And did we get to vibe and chill and chat with 20 different people? Yeah, for sure. Guess what? That's really good practice for chatting to more people. And that's really all that like picking up is. It's like, if you can chat to someone, be engaged, engaging, fun and funny.
That's it.
Right? And those things only come if you're being you and having fun.
Yeah.
If you're not being you, what are you doing? If you're not having fun, what are you doing?
That's the thing. And like, we want to stress, like, we're talking about clubs again, because that's what we did. We went out to these places that had dancing. If that's not your vibe, don't try to go out to places that, like, go somewhere that fits your vibe. If it's a quiet pub, go to a quiet pub.
Like what we did in our last live show we talked about. If you're at the gym and you want to pick up with someone, like hook up with someone, you don't just go over and be like, hey, nice tits, I like you. Yeah. You say like, oh, hey, how's it going? You like build rapport, especially there, because that's a place where people are, 1, sober, 2, there to generally work out or not pick up. And like, you go slowly and you, again, do what we did. You break the ice. You let them know that you're not a fucking weirdo. And then maybe something happens later on. So it's the same principles.
Now, we're almost done here, but I do want to talk about something that you just reminded me of is, know when the battle is won, but the war is lost. In the sense that you've made contact, you've met with someone, you've made out with them all night, you've danced with them all night, you've got their number, they're fucking blackout drunk by the end of the night. Do not go home with them.
Yes.
Sure, you might never hear from this person again. They might be like, fuck, I was drunk. I don't know who this person is. Or they look you up on Facebook or Instagram and they're like,
they're not feeling you, or they're just shy or whatever. You don't know, but it doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
What does matter is committing crimes.
Yes.
Don't do
and
that.
even just taking advantage of people, right? Like, even if you're fucked up, you should try to have the wherewithal to be like, this is a bad idea.
Yes.
We've had a great night. Thank you very much. We made out a lot. Maybe we did some other stuff in some other places.
Also, get to the joy of making out. Like, if you made out with someone and then you're pissed you didn't fuck them, you're not making out well enough, right? Grow the fuck up. Also, to a lesser degree, know when you've lost the fight in other ways. So, like, if you're making out all night and then her friends are like, hey, we're going back to Claire's, like we all said, and she's like, I gotta go. Don't be like, no, come on with me. No, like, one, she might have those plans. Two, she might not be comfortable with you. Three, her friends might not be comfortable with you. It doesn't matter. The only way you can help the situation is by being like, hey, no worries, I had a really good time. If you have their number, message them. If you don't, ask for it, right? That's it.
Yep.
You can only fuck it up at that point by being like pressy and clingy and weird, inviting yourself, not letting her go, insist she comes home with you. Like, you don't always win the battle in one night. I don't know why we keep saying battle. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But also, if you're chatting with someone and it's just not going to go anywhere, don't be fucking weird after it. If you get rejected, don't be fucking weird after it. Like, if a girl says, hey, no, sorry, I'm not into you, and you shun her for the rest of the night, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
Why? Why are you doing that? Like, be cool. When you bump into her 20 minutes later, be as friendly as you were the first time. Because again, don't be a dick.
And there's nothing wrong with, I know Niall did this a lot. I don't know if I really did it a whole lot, but like, you would ask if it was okay to kiss people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, for me,
people find it real charming.
Yes. And there's nothing like, that's not, if anyone gets upset that you're asking for consent where alcohol is consumed and it's loud and you've had like, it's a lot harder to sort of like gauge the vibe. If anyone's upset by that, then that's their problem. If someone's like, ew, like, okay, great. Like, that would immediately turn me off from them.
Like, there are times where it happens.
It makes sense. Yes.
I got to a point where like, sometimes like people actually really find it charming if you do it the right way.
Yeah.
And like, great. I also sometimes rather just 100% no than not.
Yes. And some people might just be like, oh, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, great, no problem.
Exactly.
Don't push them away. Like, stay on the same level. It might just be a no right now.
And that's the thing. There have been many times where I've talked to someone and been like, hey, like, whatever, or I think we're going to vibe. And they're like, oh, I'm not interested. I'm like, oh, no worries. And then by the end of the night, she comes over and kisses me. And she's like, I had so much fun. She wouldn't have had that fun if I had freaked out when she said no, right? Because fuck it, who cares? If you're going to be a piece of shit, don't go out.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be a piece of shit, why would you be weird if they reject you? They're allowed to. There could be a million reasons. They could have a boyfriend. They could be sick. They could have a cold sore you don't know about coming up.
Yeah.
They could be not into you. They could be gay. They could be asexual. They could be tired. They could have just thrown up. Like, just fucking don't be a dick. It doesn't matter. Any of those. They might just not like you. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do you like everybody? No.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a dick.
So, take it slow. To recap, wear something comfortable. That leads to confidence. Those are the two most important things. Being comfortable and confident on a night out is all you need. Make sure you're choosing someone you actually want to hang out with. That is the most important thing. That is your person for the night. No matter what happens over the course of the night, you are going out with them. That is why you're going out.
Yeah.
You need to be going out to have fun. Once again, find someone you want to hang out with. Do something fun. Whatever happens, happens. Be willing to be malleable. Change your plans.
Yes, go with the flow.
Go with the flow. The spirit of the night is there to guide you, and they're never going to lead you astray as long as you follow your gut and sort of open up yourself to possibilities.
Yeah.
And ultimately, don't be a dick. Be very chill. Be respectful. The most important thing out of everything is to make sure that people are feeling safe. If you're worried that that's going to make you seem like a pussy, then too bad. Yeah, fucking deal with it. Like, all you have to do is just sort of like listen to women speak, and you'll know that they don't want a guy who's going to grab them without consent, or who's going to continually talk to them and force themselves on them over the course of a night, thinking that they want to be persistent. No one wants that. And you can find plenty of examples on social media, on your friends, on your sisters, your girlfriends. You have to do is listen to women talk.
You can even just listen to us, where we can tell you the amount of people who were driven to us by those men.
Yeah.
Where they're like, hey, these guys are so creepy. We talked to you earlier. Do you mind if we hang out here? Yeah.
Even just times, I remember specifically there was a time where a group of guys was like surrounding these two women, and we literally were just like, we just held out our hands and brought them up on stage with us. And like, that was all we had to do. We were just like, these guys are shit. They looked at us with a knowing look being like, yeah. And we were like, sorry.
Yeah.
And then we were literally just like, okay, come on up. And then
like at that point, the only thing they needed to know about us was we weren't them.
Yeah.
So don't be that person.
Yes.
Because you're literally just like...
Maybe go out and just watch. You know what I mean? Like, watch how people react. Like, watch how women react to men who grind up behind them. Watch how women react to men who grab them.
Turn away and get disgusted and run to their friends and they all laugh and create like a protective barrier. Like, that's not like a cute ploy. Not like, oh, bust into our barrier. It's fuck off.
Yeah. I mean, like, last time we were out at fucking Offworld for a Comic-Con party, I literally had to pull a guy aside and be like, you must know that these women are uncomfortable with you right now.
After those women were like, hey, can you help us? And we first physically blocked him off by like forming a dancing wall. And then when this guy was too slippery
little guy,
he wouldn't get it. And we literally had to be like, yo, no one's having fun. You need to leave.
Yeah.
Like, you're creeping everybody out.
Yeah.
So just like, it is so easy to not do those things. Again, are you going to pull every night? No, you're not.
No, you won't.
But if you do things like this, it's not going to matter.
No.
Definitely not as much. Maybe not at all.
And because we talked about it on a recent episode, don't target women specifically because they're fucking drunk. Don't target people because that makes you a bad person.
Yes.
And I don't feel like we need to talk about any...
In fact, it should be the opposite, where if someone is really drunk, that's a pretty good thing to not go near in any way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't be a fucking creep.
And that's how we do a night out.
You do it. You can just go and have fun with your friends, and it will lead to fun.
Yeah. So I challenge you, if you're having trouble meeting people, if you're having trouble getting numbers, hooking up, making out, whatever, stop. That is no longer the goal. You are not going out to do that anymore. Toss that to the side, put it away, and decide that from the next like year, the only thing that you want to do when you go on a night out is to hang out with friends and have a good time.
Yes.
And make sure your friends are on that page as well, right? Like, if you're not, you will be guilty by association. If all your friends are doing this douchey shit, you're fucked as well.
That's another thing, for sure. Like, it doesn't matter if you're the best person, if everyone around you sucks shit who you're associating with, because no one's going to want to be near you.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, there were people we specifically stopped going and telling because they were terrible. Like, and we would have these conversations with them and they just wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, or they would get it to a point and they would have a certain amount of alcohol in them and then they would just go back into like almost turbo douche mode.
Yeah. And like, you don't really have much of an excuse if they're like, hey, I like you, but your friends suck shit. And you're like, yeah. It's like, oh, cool. You just keep hanging out with them and you don't tell them that's not cool. Great. Like, why would I hang out with you? Because if I do, I'm going to have to see him, or you're just hiding how much like him you are.
Yeah. So good luck. You've got this. Have fun.
Yes. And the thing is, again, will you pull? Maybe, maybe not. But will you have fun?
Yes.
Very easily. Very easily. And that is far more important.
And that's something you can actively decide.
Yes.
You can't choose whether or not a woman is going to be attracted to you and go home with you. You can choose
to have fun.
To have a good time with your friend.
Yeah.
What are the options here?
Yeah.
Weigh them and realize that we are correct.
Yes.
That's going to do it for this episode.
Yeah. If you have follow-up questions, always send them in.
Yeah.
And you got this.
And if you have a suggestion or a request for our next episode on this, if there's another topic you would like us to cover, let us know. We would love to hear that as well. We will deep dive on that.
Yep.
Thank you very much for listening. My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain.
And we've been your Pillow Talk buddies.
Thank you, Josh Eagle and the Harvest Seas, for their song Paper Stars.
Oh yeah, we do that.